Hello, my name is Tanja Vos, and in this talk I will show you the Spanish Software Testing Innovation Alliance here at the staff conference in Vienna. So the Spanish Software Testing Innovation Alliance is part of the Innovation Alliance, which again is an objective of the SHIP project. So let's look at this SHIP project and the Innovation Alliance and what it wants to achieve. So here on top you see how we see the collaboration between SMEs on the one hand, universities and government. So you see a dog on a bicycle that is like balancing with some cat on his head and some mice that are also there. So from this situation we want to go to the situation here below, where the collaboration between SMEs, companies, government and universities is like the Vienna Philharmonic, where you bring together musicians, a composer and a conductor, three parties, and together you make beautiful music. So we want to bring together SMEs, universities and government institutions to make the beautiful music of successful innovation. So how does the SHIP project want to do that? So first of all, it brought together this bunch of people, which is the SHIP Consortium. And we have the coordinator that is from Louth County Council in Ireland. We have the Technical University in Valencia from Spain, which is where I'm from. Then we have Univations from Germany, the Technical University of Bucharest in Romania, Nuri and Moore from the UK, Kennis Consulting from Ireland, the University Industry Innovation Network from the Netherlands, and Mindshared Consulting from France. And it's these partners that together form the SHIP Consortium and try to achieve this, this collaboration between universities, SMEs and governmental institutions. So the way this project tries to do this is by setting up 4 different innovation alliances. So the first one is a cross-border alliance, that is cross-border between the UK and Ireland, that tries to make innovation collaboration between these 3 stakeholders. There's another regional alliance in Germany, and there is an alliance in the capital city of Bucharest in Romania. And finally, the 4th alliance, and that's the one we're going to talk about in this talk, is the Software Testing Innovation Alliance that is set up in Valencia but is for the whole of Spain. So it's this alliance that we will talk about in this talk. So let's look a little bit better about what is this alliance, what it's all about, what do we want to do. So we want to bring together key Spanish stakeholders in software testing, in universities, SMEs and companies. And we want to bring them together to make them work together and improve technology transfer of testing and improve innovation support from universities to companies, especially SMEs. And when we do this, what we want to actually have is establish new projects and cooperation between these 3 stakeholders. So you would say new projects about what? So the projects we want to do is all about working with what we have. We want to embed the innovation we have into companies that need this innovation. So we want to solve problems, tackle challenges that companies might have with software testing, remove barriers, for example, to go and work with universities, and induce small step change. And this is actually fundamental for the Software Testing Innovation Alliance. We want to aim for small step change, and we want to make really small projects, mini projects, or pico or nano projects. And then with these small projects that are based on what we have and what companies need, we want to set up collaborations that can have impact. So for example, impact in practice, where a company can actually really benefit from innovations that are made in universities. Or it can have benefit in business. Maybe a company can even use technologies that are made at the university and try to improve their business with that. We want to have impact in education. Maybe some research result or some technology transfer from university to a company has generated new knowledge that we want to teach our students at university. And finally, we can have impact in research. When we do technology transfer from results at the university to a company, we can improve our research, because then we know, for example, where we should research more on, or we might know what we have done wrong and where we should put more emphasis on, all to make sure that our results are of better need to a company. Let's look at an example. So imagine we have an SME that needs automated testing. So we at the UPV, we have a tool for that. We have a tool called TestStar that can help you do automated testing at the user interface level. What the tool basically does, it scans the user interface, knows everything that's there, and then randomly tries to exercise this user interface and test the application. So this is automated. It needs to set up a little bit and you need to configure it a little bit, but it can actually very quick start automated, random, let's call it monkey testing. So imagine that we transfer this technology from our university to a company. So what can happen? We can have two scenarios. First, it works great and we can set it up in a company, it can find some errors and we have actual practical impact because we have actually managed to improve the software testing processes of this company. So that's great. We have practice, we have practical impact. Imagine it does not work. This obviously happens because TestStar is an academic prototype and there's still a lot of things that we need to do. So imagine it doesn't work because, for example, it doesn't detect all the user interface controls on the application that we want to test. So if that happens, we have impact anyway because we have research impact. Because we, as researchers, now know that there are certain type of applications that have specific characteristics that our tool does not work for. And we need to investigate and develop a little bit more to make sure that it can also be used for these applications. So, whatever happens, in these small step projects, we will have impact. So other examples of these small initiatives that we can do to induce small step change are, well, as we said, transfer a research result to an SME, like the example I gave for TestStar. Or we can also think of SMEs that help universities or higher education institutes, like it said on the slide, help these institutes to disseminate their results through new services. For example, if we have a company that sells software testing or quality services to other companies, then they can say, okay, I have availability of an academic prototype tool that can do testing automatically at the user interface. And they can try to sell this to their client and then they can help the university disseminate their results. So we have impact in new services and impact in technology transfer of an academic result. We can also, for example, think of the impact in research, as I mentioned before. If a university transfers its technology to a company, we can evaluate what we have done. We can see how good or bad it was, and we can actually guide our research into the direction of improving our academic results to fit better the needs and challenges of the company. So we have impact in research. And finally, impact in education. Think, for example, of including a result of an SME that has been applying some academic result to education curriculum. For example, they have incorporated a university result into a tool and they provide, for example, free licenses for this software tool for students so they can learn this. So these are just examples of the small projects that we want to set up into the Software Testing Innovation Alliance for this small step change. So what we have done, we have set up in Spain a network of stakeholders and we have distinguished different types of participants. So on the slide you see here 4 categories. So first is the passive observer. The passive observer is interested in what the Alliance does, but actually does not want to get involved actively because of lack of time or any other reason. So the effort of these participants is, well, he can read some emails, he can come to the events if he wants to, but for the rest he remains passive. Then we have informing participants. Informing participants were the ones that actually provided us with information towards real needs of testing, research, education and practice. Like company says, really, I really have this and this challenge that I want some university to solve for me. So they inform that this is something that they would like to see as a research result. These participants have participated in some meetings and maybe filled in some questionnaires about technology transfer in general. And they obviously help us to disseminate the alliance. And the third type of participants are the most interesting ones because those are the active ones. These were the participants that have actually went into participating in one of these micro or pico initiative projects on transferring some results from universities to companies. And finally, in the end, we had to add some other category that we named zero, and those are the participants that actually replied positively, saying that this is a very nice initiative, but then we never made anything concrete. So we put them into one category too. So in Spain, we got all these type of participants from universities, companies, small companies and also big companies, and we got involved also some governmental institutes and some other associations that were interested in software quality and so on. So what we have done throughout the running of the project will end end of this year. So we have started in Paris, the 16th of March last year. And what we've done there in the context of the whole SHIP project, we have launched the 4 alliances that we've showed before. And as I said, the one from Spain was the Software Testing Innovation Alliance. So then after this big launch of the project, we launched the Software Testing Innovation Alliance here in Valencia in April last year. And from that moment on, we have done a couple of workshops in Seville, in Zaragoza and San Sebastián. And all these meetings were about what can we offer as an innovation and an academic result from universities, and what are the needs and demands for solutions from companies. And then we would put these two together, the offer and the demand, and make contacts and make sure that these people could network. And then at the end of the day, we were able to sometimes define and plan some of these mini initiatives. So this is what we've done. We've got some mini initiatives running. They will execute until September, and we evaluate the impact of those in October this year. So things that we have done in these workshops that we've done in Valencia, Seville, Zaragoza and San Sebastián were, for example, elevator pitch and speed dating. So the companies and the universities get a possibility to do an elevator pitch. So for the universities, it would consist of, I have this technology, and this technology can be used in a company for these problems. You can get this out of my research result. And this should be a really pitch short. And the company should pitch, okay, I have a company, I do software development, and I have these problems in software testing that I would like to see solved. And after these elevator pitches from both sides, we would do speed dating. And you can see some pictures here. And this was actually very useful because after the elevator pitch, you get an idea of what somebody can do or what somebody needs. And during the speed dating, actually, we got out this micro initiative that could start off trying to make some small step change. Another thing we've done is Hack Lab. This was also a very interesting experience. We had 6 SMEs in one working day. And we did this, well, we obviously did this with the tool TestStar because that's our academic result. And so what we did, we brought these 6 SMEs together. We gave them a short introduction on what the tool was and how you could do it. And then we actually divided up in 6 groups trying to get to work TestStar on one of their applications that they needed to test. And this was very valuable, and some of them actually started using TestStar afterwards. So the results. We've got 15 mini initiatives with good intentions after all these workshops. And actually 9 really have started and are almost finished because they need to finish up in September and then we'll evaluate them in October. Those are 6 with TestStar, 2 with TuneUp and 1 with early testing methodologies from Seville. And the other 6, so 9 have really started, the other 6 are still pending. They never ever really hit it off, but they still have good intentions to do it. But well, there's a lack of time and some other barriers that we'll see later what they're about. So if we look at the transferable academic results from the Spanish university, we see them here on the slide. The green ones were actually the ones that reached some starting initiative of a small project, and the others didn't yet. So we have Testar, as I told you, this tool for automated testing at the user interface. We have a tool called TuneUp, which is an agile testing tool that can actually help you do requirements change management through acceptance test. And it's got a whole tool behind it that can help you manage this whole process. Then at the University of Oviedo, they have a set of tools that can help you test SQL databases. So help you test the rules, help you test the data that is below it. And there were some companies interested in that, but they never hit it off with the mini project, but maybe they still will in the future. And finally, we have the early testing methodologies from the University in Seville. They have a methodology and some tools behind that can help you model your use cases with a conceptual model and then use this model to automatically change your test cases. And they have also started up some mini initiative with some companies to start to get the technology transfer going. So what have we learned? It's difficult. It's still difficult to do technology transfer from universities to companies. Yeah, this gap exists. We put this drawing in the paper and some reviewer says, oh, but this drawing doesn't really say much. But this drawing actually says a lot if you try to do it. It is still difficult, the gap exists. And what we have seen is that it's basically because of communication. It's communication difficult. Communication is super difficult. You start off with problems in terminology. Companies have different terminologies than universities does. And even though terminology in testing is starting to get standardized and so on, there is still a different understanding of what things mean. And it's not that somebody's right or the other is wrong, it's just a problem when you communicate. Then there's obviously the problem of context. Universities want to solve problems because they want to have a nice research result. Companies want to solve problems because they need to get their product out in the market as fast and good as they can. So this is a different context. And this leads to different problems when you try to transfer results. So to overcome these things, you need to have patience. A lot of patience. We, for example, have been with our tool Testar to companies that are really, really small companies and they actually don't do any automated testing at all. So we come there with a tool that can actually do automated testing at the user interface level very quickly. And yes, indeed, it's random testing, it's monkey testing, and it cannot obviously automatically out of the box test your specific requirements. But it can start testing. And then you need to invest and test automatically also the requirements. And then after having explained that, company says, oh, but it can only do that. It cannot automatically test my requirements. And then you just have to have a little bit of patience and explain them again and explain them too that if you want to test specific requirements, then this is an investment in time. And then we get to the last point, return of investment. This is not always clear with academic prototypes. We don't know. That is why actually I want to go with my tool to these companies and implement it so I can get a better overview of what is the return of investment. But as long as my tool is an academic prototype, then I cannot give you clear numbers on the return of investment. So these are all communication type of difficulties that, well, we need to overcome, like we need to overcome any communication difficulties in life. The other problem is lack of time. Lack of time is per default. Companies just don't have time because they have clients, they need to make money. So if they don't have a clear picture of what something is going to bring to them, they will just do not have time for that. And that's understandable, but as an academic, it's frustrating when you think you have a solution for them that actually can save them time if they invest a little bit on it. But well, we need to just continue doing these type of projects like SHIP and just continue going to the companies, continue talking to them and continue trying to make our academic results transferable to companies. So how do we go on from here? What's next? Well, we're going to present the results of these mini initiatives that we have started up in Salamanca in 2016. Actually, I see there's a 0 missing on my slide there. So this is after the summer holidays. And then the Software Testing Innovation Alliance, because it's actually quite a success in Spain and everybody is very enthusiastic about it. The Software Testing Innovation Alliance goes European. And we will have a kickoff of the European Software Testing Innovation Alliance in the Netherlands in Amsterdam, the 18th of November. And it's going to be together with the 22nd Dutch Testing Day. And we will do these things that I showed you before. We will have elevator pitches and speed dating, and we will see if we can start up some of these mini initiatives. But now not at the Spanish level, but at the European level. So, this was my talk. If you want more information, my contact details are on this slide. And thank you very much for listening to me on this video.